McManus, as we introduced ourselves earlier. I work here in the Student Center with the Ally Center for Civil Rights and Civic Responsibilities. And I want to review with you a concept about public life. What's missing from your public life? So on a scale of 1 to 5, if you think about your perception of public life, if 1 is that you are not engaged in public life at all, you go through your days earning a living, going to school, attending to your friends and loved ones, pretty much just taking care of your own business, that would be 1 on one end of the continuum. And 5 would be, I see myself as actively engaged in public life in my workplace, in my school, in my place of worship as a consumer, and so on. Where would you rank yourself? Are you a 1 or are you a 5? 5s? 1s? 3s? 2s? Pat, where do you see yourself?
Probably good.
Probably in...
maybe in the middle, maybe at 4.
Yeah. And you, sir, where do you see yourself?
4.
Yeah, okay. Perfectly reasonable. How about the nature of public life? Where on the first level, public life repels me, it's cutthroat and driven by big egos. That would be the 1. And the 5 would be, I like the idea of participating in public life. I see it as rewarding and positive. 5s? 1s? 3s, meaning that it's either one or the other? Okay. Public life versus private life. Public life is too time-consuming. My public and private lives compete too often for my time and attention. 5 would be my public and private lives are mutually enhancing and actually contribute to each other. 5s? 1s? Okay. And then how I view my role. There's not much of a role for me in public life as the person who stands at the 1. It's controlled by others, distant authorities, and powerful figures, versus a 5 who would indicate they feel capable, empowered, and know they can make things happen. How many of us know we can make things happen? Okay, well, you should see all hands going up for that, exactly. This is material that's drawn heavily from a book called The Quickening of America, Rebuilding Our Nation, Remaking Our Lives, published by Josie Bass in San Francisco. And over the years, I have found this to be an invaluable tool in speaking with students and people in the community about why it's important to be engaged in public life. Some key roles, and typically these are in kind of a pie chart, but when you think about the role that the media plays in shaping our attitudes and often our behaviors, what our education does for us in the classroom and outside of the classroom, where our cultural, recreation, and voluntary organizations place us. How many of you are involved in a volunteer organization, an organization where you go and you do community service for the benefit of others? Okay, good. How about your civic life, organizations that may have an impact on the community, the county board, a committee from your city council? How many of you voted yesterday? Okay. Human and healthcare services. We are all consumers. We are frequently clients of human and healthcare services. We are members of associations. We also have an opportunity to shape voter opinion and policy by our engagement in human and healthcare services. Our faith-based perspective, whether that's an active formal religious life or something that's more spiritual and self-oriented, regardless, if you are in community with people around faith, it's another way that you have a public life. And then our economic life, our role as a consumer, worker, employer, saver, and investor, owner, policy shaper, ratepayer, user of trails and services that are abundant, user of the highways and byways that we all travel, members of professional associations. Those are all parts of our public life. So all of these aspects impact each of us in the way our public life develops. There are basically 3 reasons, according to LaPay and Du Bois in this book, The Quickening of America, 3 reasons that people engage in a public life. The first is probably a base level, genuine service orientation defined by what I want to do for others. And we see this, especially on campus, where we have students go out and they'll rake the yards of the homebound senior citizens in the community, or a group will purchase a gift for the Christmas for Kids Holiday Giving Tree Project, or someone will volunteer at Thursday's table or Tuesday's table, the community tables in the Menominee area, or over in Eau Claire. Selfishness is strangely also a reason that people engage in public life, because they're so focused on how others view them. It's not the idea of giving to others, it's that I'm doing what I think others expect me to do, or I'm doing something that that will make me look better in someone else's eyes. And then what we try to strive for here on the campus is that sense of relational self-interest that's proactive, that's respectful, that offers a chance for reflection and making meaning of that experience. So, then the rewards of developing our public lives, of course, are that we would feel much better about ourselves, not only spiritually or in our hearts, intellectually, but possibly physically. Frequently, when you get outside of yourself, it doesn't let you dwell as much on what your own ills are. It lets you focus on what others are doing, and sometimes that raises your physical and mental spirit as well. Satisfaction in expressing care for loved ones increases, so does having more meaningful relationships when we're involved in public life. Feeling a sense of purpose in life and greater hope, knowing that you're part of social change, making actual social change happen. That there are mentoring and learning relationships, that we enjoy improvements in the quality of life, and we see that in better jobs, better schools, better environment, and hopefully better health care. The active citizen continuum is what we're talking about here. In the way that we engage in public life, whether that's as a member, a volunteer, a conscientious citizen, or an active citizen. And the way that plays out, here's just one example. Let's say you got a strong interest in sustainability and global issues. So you might join Green Sense and the Social Science Society, the sponsors of this conference. Newer members may not be concerned necessarily with their role in solving the social problem as much as they are in finding a topic or people to attach to. Having that sense of belonging and membership that also is key to having people persist in a university environment and in any community. That changes over time. As students, as young people in particular, or as citizens get more engaged with a particular topic, a particular organization, they're more likely to step up and say, I could help out with that project, or I could lead that committee, or I can do this task. That's how you engage people in leadership. The second segment there, the volunteering and community action segment, perhaps if you're here for the summer, you adopt a community garden plot and you donate some of your harvest to the Stepping Stones Food Pantry here in Menominee. Maybe you're working on shoreline restoration with the Monoma and Tanger Lake Association. Maybe you are engaged in even the highway cleanup projects that are available in the community. It means that you're putting your interest in an organization or a topic into action. Participants are typically well-intentioned, but maybe not yet as well-educated in that hands-on experience really helps. Third, you might attend the Food for Thought or the Intersections film series and dialogue programs. You might come to a conference like today and actually engage in dialogue with others about topics that are critical to the development of community. Courses in the major or minor might lead to passionate interest in a particular topic. There may be grants that you find that you're able to apply for. There may be other aid that you're able to apply for as a student because you've demonstrated your ability to start to walk your talk. This is the point where people start to look at root causes and ask why. Why is this? And in particular, your spoken word piece earlier. Why is this? Why is this? That's a theme that I heard you asking. So that's about where I would put you, right kind of smack dab in the middle. It's a great position to be in. It's a really formative position to be in. And the next, of course, would be corporate social responsibility. How many of you have done an internship or have worked for an employer where you know what the carbon footprint or sustainable handprint of that employer is? I work at Stout, I have a pretty good idea. We're doing okay. We're not doing great, but we're doing okay. How many of you know that the company you work for sponsors social justice efforts on a regular basis? Or will? Gets engaged in the community, participates in the United Way Day, where all the employees go out and they're wearing corporate shirts and they're cleaning up the town, or they're working at the food pantry, or they're doing something, they're building the River Heights School playground as they did here in Menominee a couple years ago. Corporate social responsibility is a key part of public life. And your public life and the alignment with the company you work for are really critical in getting to that last step, that civic engagement step of being involved in local governance, committees, boards, membership, public policy lobbying, voting. Your community becomes your priority in values and life choices. So how did you start and where are you now? What were you like when you first joined a social science organization, or when you joined the first organization you belonged to? Yeah.
Well, when I was a freshman, I joined Green Fence, and that was definitely, the first one.
Okay. Okay. And then what volunteer or hands-on experience made you want to be more involved?
As far as politics go, I was very like, oh, I'm not political. But then then the Walker stuff happened, and I went to Madison, and just recognized that we can no longer afford to be ignorant or apathetic about our politics. Like, we need to be active, or we're just going to be the same old, it's kind of do or die right now.
Okay. Okay. And then, really exploring where are the root causes of the topics or problems that you seek to resolve, and how are you an active citizen? What does this public life of yours have to do with the way your community becomes a priority in your life? It's a challenge to be the active citizen you want to see, you want to be in this world. To be that active citizen if you're not willing to be public about it. And so my question to you in closing my 7.5 to 12 minutes, whatever it is when you look in the mirror, do you see an active public citizen? And if not, what are you going to do to get yourself there? So it's my understanding that what we do now is that, John, I think you're up next, okay? And then another presenter or two, and then we have some common discussion about these presentations. Sound good?